Baltimore Ravens reworked Marcus Williams' contract. We'll talk about what this means. Todd Monken is getting multiple head coaching interviews. We'll go over some practice and injury updates from today. And Kyle Van Noy on his podcast said that he thinks Zay Flowers is going to play Saturday. All that and more in today's episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. So the Ravens made some salary cap and roster moves today. They officially reworked Marcus Williams' contract. Shout out to Jason OTC and Brian McFarland for breaking this down in detail. But under the original deal that they had with Marcus Williams, they were going to have to carry an $18.7 million cap hit until June 1st. So obviously that's a lot of money to be tied up for the entirety of free agency. You know, it kind of makes the Ravens not have any flexibility in free agency this year because they would be carrying so much of Marcus Williams' contract and they'd have to wait until June. But for agencies in March. So, you know, you're not going to be able to get early work done, and therefore you're kind of stuck. So they needed to rework this contract to free up a lot of money earlier in free agency so that the Ravens can make moves or just re-sign their own guys. So now under the new reworked contract, they're only carrying him at $8.8 million until June 1st. So that's about a $10 million drop from where it was prior. And then there will be $6.7 million of dead money in 2025 and 2026. So that officially ends the Marcus Williams era in Baltimore. I mean, maybe he gets some kind of play in the postseason if we need him, but I highly doubt it. And then he's definitely getting cut next offseason. The Ravens are not going to keep him. That's why they just reworked this contract. And that then allows him to move on and play for another team. It saves us some money and allows us more flexibility in free agency. So looking back now at the entirety of the signing, it obviously did not work out. It was not a good signing. We didn't get enough productive years from Marcus Williams. We got a few good years, and then a lot of injuries, and then a huge drop-off this year. I mean, just not playing physical, not wanting to hit people, making weird decisions in coverage. The fall off of Marcus Williams this year is still something that I want more information about, or wish I could kind of like go inside his head and really see what's going on. But obviously he was holding this defense back along with Eddie Jackson, who we released. But when we made those safety changes, this entire defense flipped, and we're seeing a defense much closer to the dominant defense that we had last year instead of the worst pass defense in the NFL that we had for like half of this season. So safety play was crucial. Since we've moved our Darius and Kyle back there, it's just been rock solid and has transformed the entire defense. So happy for Marcus Williams that he'll get to go somewhere else and get another opportunity. I'm happy for the Ravens that they're going to get out of this contract. I know we got to eat $6.7 million in dead money over the next 2 years, but it's worth it at this point. I mean, he's got a massive deal. This is definitely something that's going to kind of be a blemish on Eric DeCosta's resume, along with the Earl Thomas signing too. You know, we went out and paid huge money for two different safeties, and neither have worked out. I thought Marcus Williams was really going to work out. You know, early on, that deal looked like a good deal, but most of the contract, how it ended up playing out, was really bad, and we're paying him a lot of money to just be inactive every week. So it's definitely not a good deal, and Eric DeCosta has been striking out with the safeties, so most likely best to just draft a safety or keep the safeties how they are. You know, we could go draft another outside corner. We don't have to move Kyle Hamilton. We don't have to go get a true free safety. He's balling back there. But if we do want to move Kyle Hamilton around and have that flexibility again, then I think we're going to have to go draft a safety that we like and kind of groom him into that role, and then we can move Kyle back. But I don't mind keeping Kyle in the role that he's in now and then just drafting another outside corner early in next year's draft. You know, we got Nate Wiggins, who's just exploding, and I feel like his upside's crazy. We got Marlon Humphrey maybe having his best season ever, and he's in the slot now. I don't think we should move him at all. We got Nate Wiggins on the outside. We just need another outside corner, and we can keep this defense kind of how it is. You know, there's not a lot of weaknesses, really strong D-line, really strong linebacker group, great safety play from Kyle Hamilton and our Darius Washington. We could draft another safety to add in there, But I really think we should probably just go get another top outside corner to kind of fill in that Brandon Stevens role, and we wouldn't have such quite a rotation moving forward. But we'll talk about all this in the offseason. It's just on my mind today because we reworked that Marcus Williams contract. So I'm like, all right, what are the moves that are going to come in free agency? And free agency is definitely going to be an exciting period. But we got a Super Bowl to win first. We got a playoff run that's right in front of us. I just wanted to talk about this because it is relevant news today. And some more relevant news is Todd Monken has officially been requested by the Bears and the Jaguars to interview for their head coaching availability. Now, this does suck, obviously. We always get our coaches plucked every year. I think I got some PTSD from last year. Just how many of our coaches from last year went elsewhere and got promotions, and great for them too. You know, individually, that's an amazing accomplishment, and I'm happy for those guys. But as a fan of the team, I like the stability, and when we have good coaches and a system that's working, you don't want to see those guys go. But I really don't think, and this is not a slight at Todd Monken at all, I don't think he's going to end up being a head coach. I just think that the wave in the NFL is to hire a more younger coach that is more relatable to this younger generation. I mean, football is changing, people are changing, and every generation is different. And if you've been watching football for a long time, you could see the younger generation now that's coming into the league is much different from a decade plus ago. They just don't respond to the same type of coaching. I don't think that an older coach is necessarily going to get as many opportunities as they did before. I could be totally wrong. I'm not saying Monken's not deserving. I'm not saying that he wouldn't do well. And this could just be me wanting him to stay in the role that he's in, but I do think that he is best as an offensive coordinator. I think he's a great offensive mind, and that doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to thrive as a head coach. And I feel like he should just stay exactly where he's at and stay the Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator for at least another 2 years. Let's just have some system stability, some play calling stability. You know, we got a lot of this core team locked up. It's not like we're going to be losing a lot of big guys in the next few years. Nobody's really leaving this Ravens team that is crucial. And just having some consistency with coordinators on offense and defense. You know, we're definitely going to see Zach Orr back as the defensive coordinator. I don't think he's getting plucked to be a head coach. You know, he just started as a defensive coordinator. So we're going to have Zach Orr back on the defensive side, and it would be really nice to just bring Monken back and kind of keep everything growing and rolling at the same pace, because we're going to get better. It's not like you go backwards with the same coordinators. The problem comes when all your coaches keep leaving every year or every other year. You got to learn a new offense. You got to learn new terminology. You got to start changing things, and that takes time for players to just not be thinking and understand their role and go out there and execute it and just play ball. So not to say if Monken left, we would suck. I don't think that by any means. This team's definitely driven by the players, but the coaching does matter a lot, especially the play calling, the offensive system and design. And I would love to just see Lamar Jackson and Todd Monken continue to grow for another year or two. So I'm really hoping, from the team's sake and as a fan, that he doesn't leave. But if he does, congrats to Monken. I'm not saying that he's not deserving of that. I just feel like he is going to stay our offensive coordinator. Turning our attention to practice today, the Ravens were practicing today. The only guys not out there were Charlie Kolar and Zay Flowers. Not surprised by Zay at all. Charlie Kolar was a little bit of a surprise, but we'll see how he is throughout the rest of the week. He's just coming back from IR, so nothing crazy there. We also activated Deontay Hardy from IR, so his practice window is now open, and whenever he can get back, I'm sure they're going to thrust him into the kick returner, punt returner duties. Although we haven't seen much of Hardy, I don't really think that this signing has been a good one either. Not that we stuck our neck out there. It's not comparable to the Marcus Williams signing from a financial standpoint, but we haven't seen much of Hardy this year. He's been struggling with injuries throughout the entire season. When he did get some returns, we haven't really seen him flash or make crazy plays yet, but he does have a lot of returner experience. We've been rolling with Sims, who we just got from the waiver wire from Houston, but I would imagine if Hardy's healthy, they're probably going to plug him back into that role, so we might see Hardy as our returner for some playoff games. I don't know about this week, but probably starting next week. So I don't really know if that moves the needle too much, but Hardy does have a lot of return experience, so I don't think it's a negative. You know, I think it's someone that they trust if they're going to put him out there. I think the coaches trust that, but he hasn't had the greatest year, you know, but shout out to him. Hopefully he does get back, and we'll see you soon. And like I said, Zay Flowers was not practicing today either. No surprise there. I mean, he's got a knee injury that he's dealing with. If we do see him practice later in the week, I think he does have a chance to go on Saturday. And Kyle Van Noy on his podcast said that he is confident that Zay Flowers will be out there. Let's play this clip.
Zay got a little banged up, but knowing Zay, he's played when he hasn't practiced. He's a tough little sucker, bro. He's from Broward County too. You know how those Broward County kids, they for real over there down in Florida. They love football, and he's gonna do everything he can to play. I'm going into expecting to see him on Sunday, just knowing who he is as a person and him as his competitive nature. We'll see, but that's I'm going in knowing that I got him in the game.
So we'll see. I still stand on we don't need Zay Flowers to beat Pittsburgh. I think we can get the job done without Zay, and if he's not right, just sit him, man. We need that knee to be good for Buffalo, KC, or whoever we got to face down the stretch. We need Zay Flowers throughout this playoffs, but I think we can get through Pittsburgh without him. But I'm definitely not complaining. If he feels good enough to go, if he can go out there and make an impact, then hopefully he does play Saturday. I definitely would love to see Zay. I just want to make sure that knee's right, because Zay is the type of player that truly relies on his legs, his speed, his quickness. If he's hobbled or slower in any way, I just don't think he can go out there and make the same impact that we're used to seeing. So I'd rather him get healthy and not force the issue. But if it's really minor and he is pretty healthy and he can go Saturday, then by all means, man, I'm excited to see him out there. But that's it for today. Let me know what you guys are thinking about everything. We got a Hard Knocks episode tonight. Should be another fun one to watch. They've been pretty good the last few weeks. And I appreciate you guys so much for tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame